Welcome to Old Coins World PK, your ultimate gateway into the fascinating universe of rare and valuable coins. Here, every coin has a story, a journey through history, mystery, and incredible value. From ancient treasures to modern rarities, we uncover the secrets that could be hiding right in your pocket. Whether you're a passionate collector or simply curious, get ready to explore coins worth thousands, even millions, and learn why they are so sought after around the globe. This is more than collecting. This is discovering history you can hold in your hands. Old Coins World PK, where every coin tells a story.
The 1965 United States quarter dollar holds a very important place in American coinage history because this year marked the first major change in composition of the quarter since its introduction in 1796. Before 1965, quarters were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, giving them intrinsic value linked to precious metal content. However, due to the rising price of silver in the early 1960s, the U.S. Mint was forced to make a drastic decision. Silver coins were becoming too expensive to produce and were often hoarded by the public for their bullion value. As a result, beginning in 1965, quarters were struck in a clad composition of copper and nickel bonded to a pure copper core, removing silver entirely from the design for circulating coins. This transition forever changed the way American coinage was viewed, and the 1965 quarter is often remembered as the first modern clad quarter. The obverse of the 1965 quarter still bears the famous portrait of George Washington, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of his birth. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the bust of Washington faces left, with the word Liberty boldly inscribed above his head, and the national motto, "In God We Trust," placed to the left. The date, 1965, is struck below his neckline. Notably, unlike many other quarters from later years, the 1965 issue carries no mint mark, because mint marks were temporarily removed from U.S. coins from 1965 to 1967 in an effort to discourage hoarding during the coin shortage of the mid-1960s. This detail makes every 1965 quarter appear as if it were struck in Philadelphia, even though millions were minted in other facilities. On the reverse, the design continues with Flanagan heraldic eagle, which dominates the center of the coin. The eagle is shown with widespread wings, perched upon a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Beneath the arrows lies an olive branch, representing the United States' preference for peace. Around the design are inscriptions of United States of America and the denomination quarter dollar. Above the eagle's head, the motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one, reminds a holder of the unity of the states forming the republic. This design remained standard on quarters for decades, up until the introduction of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. In terms of technical details, the 1965 quarter weighs 5.67 grams, lighter than the earlier 90% silver quarters, which weighed 6.25 grams. The diameter is 24.3 millimeters, with a thickness of 1.75 millimeters. Its composition is a clad alloy, outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a core of pure copper. This created the familiar sandwich appearance of clad coins, where the reddish copper core can be seen on the coin's edge. The reeded edge consists of 119 reeds, which was originally intended to deter counterfeiting and clipping of metal from coin edges. Because of its new copper-nickel structure, the 1965 quarter was more durable than the older silver issues, making it practical for heavy circulation. The mintage of the 1965 quarter was massive, totaling over 1.8 billion pieces. This was one of the highest mintages ever for a quarter up to that time, reflecting both the enormous demand for coinage during the 1960s and the mint's effort to restore circulation after the widespread coin shortage. With such a large production run, the 1965 quarter is generally common in circulated condition. However, collectors prize examples in higher grades, such as mint state coins with sharp details, original luster, and minimal contact marks. Full uncirculated rolls and mint sets containing 1965 quarters are also collected. One of the most fascinating aspects of the 1965 quarter lies in its transitional era varieties. Because the mint was still phasing out 90% silver planchets in late 1964 and early 1965. A small number of 1965 dated quarters were accidentally struck on leftover silver planchets intended for earlier issues. These transitional era quarters weigh 6.25 grams instead of 5.67 grams and have a distinct silver look compared to clad versions. Such errors are extremely rare and can sell for thousands of dollars at auction, depending on condition. Other collectible varieties include off-center strikes, double strikes, and coins struck with misaligned dies, which add intrigue to the 1965 issue. Historically, the 1965 quarter represents a major turning point in the U.S. monetary system as it reflects the government's response to economic pressures and the end of circulating silver coinage for the American public. It also illustrates the challenges of balancing tradition with practicality, as the Washington portrait and eagle design were preserved even though the intrinsic nature of the coin had changed. For everyday Americans at the time, the difference may not have been noticeable at first glance, but the financial world understood the long-term impact. Silver coins would no longer be part of daily commerce, and the quarter would become a coin of utility rather than intrinsic value. Today, the 1965 quarter is abundant in circulation and can still be found in pocket change, often overlooked by those who do not realize its historical significance. While most examples are worth only face value, pristine mint state specimens and rare transitional silver strikes command premium prices. For collectors, this coin represents both the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter in American coinage. Its story is tied to the broader narrative of U.S. economic history, coin shortages, and the evolution of coin manufacturing technology. The 1965 quarter may not shine with silver, but it glows with historical importance. The 1998 quarter-dollar coin of the United States of America, bearing the P mint mark, is a fascinating piece of American numismatic history. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin carries not only monetary value, but also historical and collectible significance. The quarter dollar, worth 25 cents, is one of the most widely used coins in American daily commerce, and the 1998 issue represents the final full year of the classic Washington quarter design before the Revolutionary State Quarters program began in 1999. This makes the 1998 quarter particularly important, as it marks the end of a long-standing era and the transition into one of the most popular coin series in U.S. history. Collectors and coin enthusiasts often look at this coin as a bridge between the traditional Washington design and the state-specific designs that would soon capture the public's imagination. The obverse or front side of the 1998 quarter features the iconic portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States, designed by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932. Washington's profile faces left, with his hair tied back in a classical style, symbolizing leadership, dignity, and strength. Above his head are the bold words "Liberty," a reminder of the ideals upon which the nation was founded. To the left, the motto, "In God We Trust," is inscribed, reaffirming the country's spiritual foundation. Beneath Washington's portrait appears the date, 1998, indicating the year of minting, and just above it is the letter P, the mint mark for Philadelphia. This mint mark is crucial for collectors, as it identifies the origin of the coin, and Philadelphia-struck coins hold their own place in the broader picture of U.S. coinage history. The reverse of the 1998 quarter showcases the heraldic eagle design, which had been a staple of U.S. quarters since 1932. The eagle, a national symbol of strength and freedom, is depicted with wings outstretched and a bold, commanding presence. Clutched in its talons are arrows, symbolizing the country's readiness to defend itself, while an olive branch rests just beneath, representing the United States' pursuit of peace. The inscriptions include United States of America along the upper rim and E pluribus unum, which means out of many one, a phrase that embodies the unity of a nation. Below the eagle is a denomination written as quarter dollar. The detailed engraving and balance between strength and grace make this design one of the most beloved in American coinage, and its continuation until 1998 gives this coin historical weight. In terms of specifications, the 1998 P quarter was struck from a copper-nickel-clad composition, which had become the standard for circulating quarters since 1965, replacing the earlier 90% silver quarters. The coin weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.26 millimeters, and features a reeded edge. While it was not made of silver, the coin is still significant to collectors because of its transitional place in numismatic history. The mintage of the 1998 P quarter was very large, over 896 million coins, since quarters were in constant circulation demand. Despite this high mintage, uncirculated improved quality coins, especially those with pristine surfaces and sharp details, can attract collector interest and higher values in the coin market. From a collector's perspective, the 1998 P quarter is valued not only for its face value, but also for its role as the last of the classic eagle-backed Washington quarters. While common in circulated condition, high-grade examples certified by grading services, such as PGS or NGC, can fetch higher prices. Mint state coins, especially those graded MS66 or MS67, can be surprisingly valuable given the high mintage, because such top-condition coins are harder to find due to the heavy circulation. Error coins from this year, such as those with double die obverse, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets, are especially prized by collectors and can command significantly higher premiums. Historically, the 1998 quarter also represents the economic and cultural landscape of America in the late 20th century. The U.S. Mint was preparing to launch the state quarters program, which would go on to become one of the most successful coin programs in history, sparking nationwide interest in coin collecting and educating millions about state history. The 1998 quarter is like the closing chapter of a long era that began in 1932 and ran for over 65 years with the eagle reverse design. For many, it carries nostalgic value because it was one of the last quarters in circulation before the designs became more varied and artistic in the following years. In today's coin market, a typical circulated 1998 P quarter is worth its face value of 25 cents, but uncirculated examples may sell for a few dollars, while exceptionally graded coins or those with rare errors can reach values of $50, $100, or even more. For collectors, owning a 1998 quarter in pristine condition is like holding the final piece of an old legacy before the United States turned the page to a new chapter in coinage history. It is not just a piece of change. It is a symbol of American heritage, artistry, and transition.